she felt a strong power rising inside her. It started in her hands and spread through her whole body. It felt deep and endless, like all the river in the world were flowing inside her. She lifted her head and shouted, "You cannot trap me!
You cannot trap me!"
Her voice sounded loud and powerful, like a rushing river. At once, water began to pour into the room. It came through the walls, the underfloor, from every corner. Clean, bright water, moving fast like a wave. The water surrounded Zola, glowing softly around her body. Mushy screamed. Hey darlings, welcome back to my channel. Get your popcorn ready and let's go on this journey together. If this is your first time here, stay close, subscribe, turn on your notification, and you will not miss a story. Now, let's go back to how it all started. Imagine a small, peaceful village where life is hard and the people are poor. Yes, but there is one thing everyone believes. Every family must have a child. In this village, having children is not just a blessing, it is expected. If a couple has no child, the people believe the gods are angry with them. Not bad luck. They don't see it as bad luck. They see it as a curse. This village is called Olo. In Olo lived a poor man named Kofi and his wife Amina. Kofi was a fisherman who spent his days by the river. Amina was a farmer who worked so hard on her land. But even with all their hard work, they could barely survive. The river was no longer giving fishes, and the land had grown tired and dry. They were no longer producing that much. Still, even in hardship, Kofi and his wife loved each other deeply, and they lived a very peaceful life. But there was one thing that made them different from everyone else. For 10 good years, Kofi and Amina had no child. No son, no daughter, no sign of pregnancy, no miscarriage. They lived alone for 10 years and they were getting old. At first, the villagers felt very sorry for them. But as the years went by, that pity turned into gossip. People began to whisper that they were cursed, that they had offended the gods. Women in the market would pull their children close when Amina passes by. Men shook their head when they saw Kofi. Even the elders, they spoke about them quietly as though their condition could bring bad luck to others. But Kofi and Amina did not let these things break them. They did not fight. They did not blame each other. In their home, far away from the harshest words of the village, they found peace and comfort in one another. Then one fateful good morning, something very unexpected happened. Kofi went to the river, as usual, very early in the morning, not only to check on his fishing nets, but to pray as he always did, to pray to the water goddess for a child. When he arrived, he saw something strange. something very strange lying gently in a woven basket. In that woven basket was a baby girl, calm, quiet, and yet there was something special in her presence. Kofi stopped in his track, his heart beating very fast. He had gone to the river to pray for a child. Instead, he found one. He carried the baby. He was scared, but he carried the baby home and showed the baby to his wife. Amina was shocked at first. But then, when she looked into the baby's eyes, her heart grew so soft. They decided to keep her, to raise her as their own, and they named her Zola. They loved Zola deeply, like she was their own blood. Despite the hate and the whispers from the village. And it did not take long for them to see that Zola was no ordinary child. Whenever Zola cried, empty pots and jars in the house would slowly fill with clean water. And when she laughed, hot, dry wind of the village would turn cool and soft, like a gentle blessing in the air. As Zola grew, her bond with the river grew stronger. She always wanted to be near it. She would sit for hours, touching the mud, picking the stones, and whispering softly, as though speaking to the water itself. And no one understood what she was doing. The villagers grew uneasy around her. They called her strange. They warned their children to stay away. Some believed she was not even human. But Kofi and Amina never listened. To them, Zola was a blessing, a gift from the gods. Years passed. Zola grew into a beautiful, young, vibrant woman. Her eyes were deep and calm, like a quiet lake. She did not speak much, but whenever she was near you, people felt a strange sense of peace and coolness. It was very strange. Whoever she comes across always felt peace. Then one fateful day, a man came to the village. He rode a strong black horse. His clothes were rich, decorated with gold and pieces of strange plants. His name was Mushi. He was handsome, calm, and clearly rich. But there was something about him that made people very uncomfortable. His eyes were cold, with no warmth in them. As Mushi entered the village, everything went quiet. Even the birds stopped singing. Like something had entered him. Like he already knew. He walked straight to Kofi and Amina's house. Without wasting time, he brought out expensive gifts, goods, fine things, so many beautiful things. And he said he wanted to marry Zola. Kofi and Amina were surprised, but also happy. Because all their lives, they have never seen such expensive gifts before. Life in the village was hard, and a rich man like Mushi could change everything for them. They saw this as a great opportunity. But the truth was, Mushi was not a good man. Before coming to Olo, he had visited other villagers. He used his wealth to impress families and marry their daughters. But after the wedding, those girls were never seen again. No one knew where they went. Some whispered about it, but his money kept others quiet. Fear and greed let him continue. But let us keep this one between you and I. This is what I found out about Moshi. Back to Zola. Zola felt something was wrong the moment she saw him. A deep fear grew in her heart, a fear she had never felt before. She could not explain it, but she knew this man was dangerous. Still, her parents did not listen. She told them she does not want to marry Moshi. But they told her this is a good thing. He lives in a big house in the forest. You will live a better life. You will be like a queen. Zola looked at Moshi and she wished her parents would listen. She looked at her parents. Then, to compensate all their years of suffering, she agreed to marry Moshi. She said yes, but her heart felt heavy, like something terrible was coming. But she had no choice. Moshi got married to Zola and took her away from her parents. They walked for 3 days inside the forest. The trees grew thick and tall, blocking out the sunlight. It was always dark there, even in daytime. The air felt heavy. A bad smell made it hard to breathe. At last, they reached a very big house. The house was made of dark stones, and it was very big. It looked beautiful from afar, but as Zola drew closer, fear crept into her chest. The place was too quiet. No birds singing, no animals moving. Something was wrong. Moshi took her inside and showed her a large bedroom. And he said, "You are now the lady of this house. Everything here belongs to you. But there are 2 places you must never go: the basement and the plant house behind the building. Some things are secrets." That gave Zola another different chill. Zola nodded, but fear was already growing inside her. She stayed in the house for 1 week without setting her eyes on Moshi, even for once. The house was always cold, even when the weather outside was warm. Strange things began to happen. When she walked, it felt as though shadows were following her. At night, she heard soft whispers, soft cries, like people begging for help. But whenever she looked around, no one was there. One day, she stood before a mirror and saw something that shocked her. Her eyes were glowing blue. Pure blue. This always happened when she was in danger. This house was not normal. It was alive in a strange, hungry way. It felt as though it were waiting to take something from her. Then one night, Zola could not sleep. She heard a sound outside. And slowly, she looked out the window. What she saw made her heart stop. Mushi was no longer a normal man. His skin looked like a rough tree bark. His fingers had grown long and large like thorns. He stood in the middle of the garden near a strange red flower growing from the ground. Then Zola tried to get a clearer view. Slowly, moving carefully off the bed, she saw something on the floor. A golden bracelet. She recognized it. It belonged to a girl who had married Mushi before, a girl named Olama. Zola used to see her at the stream before she married Mushi and suddenly disappeared. At that moment, everything became clear. Mushi was not just a man. He was the forest lord. A dark being who lived in the forest. He treated villagers with his wealth, married their daughters, and after the marriage, no one ever saw them again. Now Zola knew why. He had been killing them. Their lives fed him, made him stronger. The forest itself was filled with their spirits, their voices crying in the night. Zola stood there, shaking. Then the truth hit her like cold water. She was next. Zola was terrified. Her heart pounded. She ran to the door trying to escape, but it was locked. No matter how hard she pushed, it would not open. Then a loud, terrible voice filled the house. I know you are there, River Girl. I know you are awake. I can smell you. I want your power. This came from Mushi, who had now turned into a forest beast. Zola froze. Her body began to shake. Suddenly, the door burst open. Mushi rushed into the room. But he was no longer a man. He had become a terrible tree monster. His face twisted branches. His eyes burning like fire. His long nails sharp as stone. He moved quickly towards her. Zola stepped back until her back touched the wall. She had nowhere else to go. Then something changed. She felt a strong power rising inside her. It started in her hands and spread through her whole body. It felt deep and endless, like all the rivers in the world were flowing inside her. She lifted her head and shouted,
You cannot trap me!
Her voice sounded loud and powerful like a rushing river. At once, water began to pour into the room. It came through the walls, from the underfloor, from every corner. Clean, bright water, moving fast like a wave. The water surrounded Zola, glowing softly around her body. Mushi screamed. When the water touched him, it burned like fire. He tried to step back, but there was no escape. The house began to shake. The walls cracked as the water pushed harder and harder and harder. Outside, the forest made a slow, sad sound, like it was crying. Zola stood in the middle of the water. She was no longer just a girl. She had become the spirit of the river. She raised her hands and a powerful wave crashed into Mushi. He tried to change his form into shadow, then into stone, but it did not work. The water was everywhere. It washed away his dark power. It destroyed him. Soon, nothing was left of Mushi. Only dry, dead leaves on the ground. With a loud crash, the house fell apart. The dark stones broke into the dust and sand. The water flowed out into the forest, soaking the dry ground. Almost immediately, new leaves began to grow on the trees. The forest came back to life. The air felt very fresh again. For the first time in a long time, the sun shone through the trees. Zola stood quietly in the middle of the forest. She looked at her hands. The blue light was gone, but she could still feel her strength. She knew now that she was not just an ordinary girl. She was part of the river, part of the earth. She turned and looked into the direction of her village. She missed her parents, but she knew she could not go back. Her life had changed. Still, she smiled softly. The village would no longer suffer. The river would be full again. There would always be water. Zola chose to stay in the forest. She became its protector, making sure no evil would grow there again. People say, if you visit that forest today, you will find a clear spring that never dries up. The water is always fresh and calm. Some say if you listen closely, you can hear a girl laughing softly in the water. And they call her Zola. People also say this: never think you are weak because you are quiet or different. Sometimes the strongest power is hidden inside you. Just like a river, your strength can rise when you need it most. And when it does, nothing can stop you. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for tuning in to watch. Please come back next time. Subscribe, like, comment, and share our video. Thank you very much. Bye.